So good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar, 7 Ways to Give Your Business a Boost. It's going to be a fairly quick webinar. Well, hopefully quick anyway. It should be around 45 minutes with some time for questions at the end. I might go a little bit over. It kind of depends on, what happens. So moving swiftly on to me. This is me, Tamsin Jefferson Harvey. I'm the founder of Seed Accounting Solutions, and I sort of run the business, I suppose, and head up a lot of the business advisory, or we call business advisory, and business development services in the business. So I do things like business planning, forecasting, all the reporting, and I also do all of the education segments for our clients and non-clients. So that's me. Don't need to know much more, I don't think. So just to kick things off, here's the wise words for today's session. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Now, these words were written about 230 years ago, and they're as true today as they were then. This session today is about challenging you to do something different in your business so that you can get results you've never achieved before. The 7 ways, it might be that you can only implement a couple of them at the moment, but especially after the announcement on Saturday, any tiny little things that you can do that will help give your business a little bit of a boost are going to make the world of difference. So moving on to the agenda. So before we get stuck in, I want to throw in our usual disclaimer that the information provided in this educational webinar is general in nature. It's no substitute for tailored advice. And, I can't possibly be specific to everyone's particular circumstances. Everyone's very different. Every business is different and every individual is different. One of the biggest problems in small business is what we like to call FTI, or failure to implement. If you don't write your actions down, you won't remember them. So just like if you don't write down your business goals for the next year, you'll be far less likely to achieve them. And we want you to get maximum value from this webinar. So if you have any questions, please do submit them at any time. I've already mentioned that. And also make lots of notes. You obviously will get a recording of this at the end, but it's really helpful, I think, to write notes that are specific to you and for your business. There'll be something that just kind of suddenly jogs your memory and kind of goes, yes. Just FYI, my hallway is being hoovered, not in my flat, in my block of flats. So I apologize for any background noise at the moment. We'll cover how you need to make the choice to change and how to deliver a roadmap and dashboard for your business. We'll then get onto the 7 ways to boost your business, and I'll show you a worked example which demonstrates how you can make tiny little adjustments, but that the compound effect on the bottom line and the cash flow can be really significant. And then finally, it's accountability time, when you have to decide what action you're going to take as a result of coming to this webinar today. Right. So, don't know why. There we go. So, the 5 A's of change. We've been through a lot recently, and it's likely you need to make some changes in your business. Change won't just happen on its own. You have to make the choice to change. You're in control of how you respond to the recent crisis, and there are generally 5 steps in this process. So the first is being aware that you need to change. It's unlikely your business has been able to continue as normal, and changes do need to be made. Even in my business, which has been relatively unaffected, we've had to make changes in how we do things. So pretty much everyone has to change something in their business. The next step is to accept that you need to change. It may not be easy, but the alternative of not changing won't be easy either. Now you've accepted change is needed, you need to take action. What steps do you need to take to enable the change? Most people get stuck here. It's the actual implementation, as I mentioned, that FTI, failure to implement. They may respond to immediate actions while in crisis mode, but fail to take the action required. And it's the same with a lot of things. A lot of people are very good at identifying what needs to be doing and discussing what needs to be done, but actually taking the action is the hardest point. So to make sure that you do take action, accountability is required. Being held accountable by someone independent really does make things happen. And finally, taking time to acknowledge the change that you've actioned. Take your team on the journey and give positive reinforcement. And by the way, it's not always about the team. Sometimes it's just about acknowledging your own changes that you've made for yourself. And it's really important to make sure, especially if you're just on your own in your business, that you do acknowledge the progress that you've made. Getting from A to B, your roadmap. So before you can make a plan for where you want your business to go, you must first understand where your business is at right now, which is your point A. The impact of COVID means that it's likely you're further away from your destination than you would have been. Point B may be harder to get to now. It's likely that your original point B is still possible. It might just take a little bit longer, or the route to get there might look a little bit different. For example, before COVID, your point A may have been a £25,000 overdraft, and your goal was to reach point B of having £25,000 cash in the bank within 12 months. So you'd have to increase your bank account by 50,000 to reach point B. So what does point A in your business look like now? Maybe you had to extend your overdraft by another £15,000 to cover your expenses over lockdown. So point A is now a £40,000 overdraft, and the journey to point B is increasing the cash in your account by 65,000 instead. So it might be more realistic to aim to reach point B in 2 years instead of 12 months. Do you know what point A looks like in your business? What is your goal for point B? What does the journey to get there look like? So just have a think of what that is now and what it used to be, and you might need to make those little adjustments there. So now you know where you are as a result of COVID, hopefully anyway, and you know where you want to go. You need to revise your plan. This could be reviewing and updating your existing business plan. It could be developing a business recovery plan. If the impact on your business has been minimal, it's likely an update to your business plan would be your best option. If your business has been significantly impacted, we recommend a business recovery plan. We did a webinar on business recovery quite a while back now. I think it was in June or July, might have even been before that. And this will basically help you revise your personal budget to reduce the pressure on your business's cash flow, determine whether any additional finance is needed, and revise your business budget and break-even analysis. A recovery plan also goes through to establish your most critical KPIs that need monitoring, and also help you to identify opportunities, vulnerabilities, and critical challenges in your business. Now, I created my own recovery plan back in May, I think it was, and I'm still using it to this day. I have done a new business plan for my new financial year, which started yesterday, but I am still following my recovery plan because, well, even more so now, those vulnerabilities and critical challenges are very much present in my business and will continue to be for at least another 6 months, I think. So the risks in each department of your business, as well as mitigation strategies, will be identified. And then you'll also set annual and 90-day goals to ensure you achieve your plan. Now, if you didn't attend my business recovery planning webinar, we do still have an action list. Now, what that does is it's like a very basic recovery plan. We can do the full business recovery planning session with you if you'd like, but if you just want an action list to kind of get through and help you think about the things that you need, just send me a message at the end of this webinar and I will get that sent over to you. Okay. Right. So just getting you from A to B, focusing on your budget specifically. So when working out your budget, you need to start with your profit, and then you need your business to, you start with the profit that you need your business to deliver to you, and then you work your way up. So you start on the bottom line. So it might have been that you previously wanted 75,000. Now, after doing your recovery planning and working out your personal budget and kind of reducing that pressure on the business, you might decide that actually you can survive with £65,000. And Well, and also I suppose your expenses might be less if you're not traveling so much. So then your overheads might have been 175,000, but after leaving no stone unturned when reviewing your expenses, you might now be able to trim this down to 162,500. This gives us a gross profit target of £227,500. Now, if we want to keep our gross profit at 39%, and theoretically your gross profit percentage shouldn't change, we would need to achieve sales of £583,334. Now, while this is lower than our previous target, we may need to have a more brutal look at our expenses to ensure our goal is attainable in the current climate. So, of course, you need to develop this in more detail. You need to break it down into monthly targets and monitor those to look, to make sure you're on track and so on. But just by doing this very basic headline budget, you can really see the difference. That's £60,000 less in sales. And by reducing all of your overheads and your personal drawings or personal budget requirements, you can make it work. So have a think about that and do spend some time seeing what you can do for your business. Now you know where you're going. So you've identified point A and you've identified your point B. It's time to set up your dashboard. So the dashboard on your car shows you how fast you're going, how much fuel you have left, and the temperature of your engine. It gives you an indication about whether you'll make it to your destination. And it's the same in business. We recommend on a business's dashboard, you have KPIs or key performance indicators, and they're basically measures which tell you if you're on track to achieving your plan. Your dashboard should show the top 4 or 5 measures which drive most of your business improvement. We only recommend 4 or 5 because if you have too many, they're diluted and you can't possibly focus on more than 5 at a time. I actually generally only have about 3, but that's me. 4 or 5 is also good. Focusing on a smaller number of KPIs allows you to capture, monitor, report, and improve them on a regular basis. Your most important KPIs will depend on the type of business you have, as well as your goals. So, for example, a manufacturer's most important KPIs might be gross profit percentage, cost of rework, work in progress days, or WIP days, as we like to say, and debtor days. A retailer's KPIs might be sales, gross profit percentage, average client spend, transaction frequency. And again, for other businesses, service-based businesses, you would look at gross profit percentage. You might also look at work in progress days, depending on how you bill. It might be, it might be sales as well. It might be, again, debtor days, average client spend. It can be a mix of those. So have a think about the really important things that you can measure. It might be non-financial KPIs, what we call non-financial KPIs. So it might be things like, for example, in a restaurant, it's always easier to give examples based on restaurants and shops because people can understand that. But for example, in a restaurant, it might be the number of covers. So the number of people actually sitting at a table. If you've got a table for 4 and only 3 people are sitting at it, then potentially that could have been filled by a table of 4. So you want to have a think about the number of people that are actually coming in and spending money. So it's things like that. If for a service-based business, it might be a marketing funnel. It might be looking at, your conversion rates and things like that. So it's not necessarily monetary based. So those are what we call non-financial KPIs. It's really important that you determine which KPIs you should be measuring, but it's also important that you set goals for improving them and you establish a dashboard to regularly monitor how you're progressing. That can be done on a spreadsheet. It can be done with some software. There's various different ways that can be done. You just need to record it and monitor it. How to engage co-drivers. I love this. I love the car analogy. So when you set goals, do you have someone to hold you accountable for what you committed to? What are the consequences for you if you don't achieve your goals? Do you have a soft coach or a hard coach? I think that's fairly self-explanatory. but you need to have somebody who is going to hold you accountable. Remember the 5 A's of change that I went through right at the beginning? One of them was accountability. You simply have to have someone independent hold you accountable to your actions, and there should be consequences for inaction. Having your spouse hold you accountable generally doesn't work. Independence is key. So, don't bring accountability in to your family unless they're obviously running your business together. But having someone external, find someone in your networking group or that also needs some accountability, hold each other accountable. See if you can set up some sort of partnership or seek a professional accountability partner. It might be a coach, it might be a mentor. It could be, we offer not a specific accountability service, but as part of some of our services, we do accountability services as part of that. So to summarize, if your business is the vehicle that delivers to you what you want in life, the top 4 things that you need to do to make sure you get to your destination are: set an annual plan. This does not need to be detailed. I've seen these crazy business plans. I remember when I first set up a business, I decided I needed to do a business plan, and I downloaded something, and I think it ended up being about 25 pages long. It doesn't need to be anything more than 1 page. You can fit everything on 1 page. Our business planning service that we do basically sets up a 1-page business plan. You don't need anything more detailed than that. Set an annual budget. You have to have something to work towards financially. So you set your budget and then you break it down into quarters. So you have 4 quarters, obviously, in a year. So break it down into 3 months chunks, and then you've got something tangible to work towards. Set and measure your 4 to 5 most important KPIs and have someone independent hold you accountable to your plan. Super important. I hope that's all clear. Right. So before we get started on the 7 ways to boost your business, it's important for you to understand the marketing flywheel. Now, I've got Sarah on the line at the moment, who's a marketing expert. So apologies, Sarah, for treading on your toes, but this is a very brief overview of the marketing flywheel. This concept shows you how to attract, engage, and delight customers, and demonstrates that you shouldn't just focus on gaining new customers. You need to focus on delighting your current customers. It's very easy to think that you have to spend loads of money getting new clients, but if your existing customers aren't happy, you're just going to constantly have that constant churn rate. So focus on delighting your current customers. So first, we have strangers, people who haven't heard about our business. We can do some marketing to introduce our business to these strangers, who will then become prospects. Prospects then have the opportunity to buy. When those prospects make a purchase, they become customers. And if we treat them right, these customers become our promoters. The more promoters we have, the more people we have to speak to strangers about our business. So the cycle continues. So if you think about word of mouth and referrals and things like that, that is who the promoters are. If you think about companies like Netflix, Audible, none of them need to advertise. They just have people who talk about it and rave. So that is why you need your promoters in your business. So in order to attract prospects to our business, we need to provide value before we extract value. So think about what they'll get from doing business with you and the problems that you can solve. To convert prospects into customers, you must engage them by making it as easy as possible for them to buy from us. Our marketing is what attracts and engages prospects and turns them into customers. Our sales process should ensure customers continue to be engaged and are followed up with really good service. Delighted customers will share their feedback with strangers, creating more prospects, customers, and promoters. The level of service we provide determines how we delight and attract current and future customers. The aim is to keep the marketing flywheel spinning as fast as possible and to keep it going. So you need to convert more strangers into prospects, prospects into customers, and provide such good service that those customers then become promoters. So I hope that all makes sense. I've got a little thing in the chat box. Let me just have a quick look. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I will go through all of that at the end. So now we finally, as you've all been waiting for, get on to the 7 ways to boost your business. So the first way to boost your business is to increase your customer retention rate. It's, as I just said, much cheaper to make sales to existing customers. And in fact, statistics show that it's 6 times easier and cheaper to make sales to existing customers than it is to new customers. So by delighting our customers, we make them want to return, and therefore increasing our customer retention rate. And that just goes in a nice little circle. So what do you do to delight your customers? Have a little think, note something down, ask yourself the question and think about it later. What do you do to delight your existing customers? Follow the FGG principle to delight your customers. And you're probably thinking, what on earth does that mean? I'm going to tell you. So the first F, find out what they want. G, go get it. And the second G, give it to them. So find out what they want, go and get it, and give it to them. It's as simple as that. The second way, boosting your business is easier when you generate more leads. The best way to generate more leads is to delight your customers so that they become promoters and provide you with more leads. So going back to that marketing flywheel. You can't purely rely on your existing customers to do your marketing for you. So you do also have to attract strangers using your marketing strategies and providing value. This could be a free download on your website or a free trial or consultation. Show them the problems you'll solve if they engage you in a service. You have to get something in that lead generation. And there's loads of information out on the internet about lead generation, or you can go and speak to a marketing expert who can help you with that. Now, once you've got your leads, you need to convert them. So the third way to boost your business is to increase your conversion rate. Do you measure how successful you are at converting leads, quotes, and proposals into sales? And do you regularly review why you aren't converting more? You need to be monitoring the conversion rates of all members of your sales team, if you have one, or your own work. If you do have a team and some are performing better than others, find out why. It might be that they've got some amazing little technique, or it might just be that there are some people who aren't as good at the job. Are you using the right people in the sales process? So a key to successfully converting sales is to ensure you're dealing with a decision maker. Don't deal with gatekeepers. Get straight to the people who can make things happen. The amount of times I have made this mistake and spoken to someone who then has to go and speak to their husband or their wife before they can finalize a decision, and you realize that it just makes it longer. Make sure that you are dealing with the decision maker in the business. You don't want to be dealing with the gatekeepers. You need to also offer a range of options, so the question becomes, which option should I buy, rather than should I buy at all? So think about that. Now, just a note on this as well. I used to be really proud of having a very high conversion rate. And then at some point I realized it was because I was offering way too much for too little money. So do be wary of having a very high conversion rate. If you've got a very high conversion rate, are you definitely charging the right amount of money? Because I can guarantee you, if you've got a particularly high conversion rate compared to the rest of your industry, it's likely that you're over delivering, basically. So have a think about that. Have a look in your industry and do some benchmarking and see if that fits in with others in your industry. And have a think. I'll show you in the next couple of steps about changing prices and things. But basically, if you have a very high conversion rate because you're charging too much, you can afford to increase your prices and lose a couple of customers and still make the same amount of money. So do just bear that in mind. So the fourth way to boost your business is to increase your transaction frequency. As I said earlier, it's much harder to sell to new customers than it is to sell to existing customers. So it makes sense to encourage those existing customers to buy from you more often. You can do this by sending reminders, introducing VIP cards or sort of loyalty cards, or offering special deals to existing customers. It might be in a service-based business. So for example, in my business, people pay me on a monthly basis, but an additional way to increase transaction frequency is to try selling additional services. In a retail business, it could be getting your existing customers to come back, and that's where the loyalty cards and things like that. So it's very different for different businesses on how you can increase that transaction frequency. But have a think. There's very few where it's a one-off service, even for something like a will writer, where you might think that that's just once in a lifetime. It might be that actually you need to remind them that it needs to be updated, or you can check in and say, have you had any additional children? Have your assets changed? Let's review it. There's lots of different ways. There's very few occasions where it is very much a one-off service. Number 5, increase the transaction value. So this doesn't necessarily mean increasing your prices. It just means identifying how you can add more value to your customers. Could you provide them with a range of options? Is it clear what your business offers? Don't assume they already know. Tell them. Follow the "would you like fries with that" concept and adapt this to your business. Now, I used to work for a fairly large retail sort of bar chain, and we were always told when we took an order, we would ask, "Do you want fries with that? Or would you like extra drinks? Would you like any sides?" And we would try and recommend them. And those tiny little things can make all the difference, and it increases the transaction volume. So that's obviously in a hospitality style example, but have a think about other services or products that you can offer that complement what they have asked for. Don't obviously just sell them something for the sake of it. It has to be something that they actually want, because otherwise they won't see the value in it. Try not to offer a discount unless the customer has purchased an add-on. So you want to make sure that you end up with the same amount of money or more, but potentially with a bit of a discount. But never just discount your basic service offering. And at Seed, we don't offer any discounts at all. It's just our value, I suppose. We don't offer discounts because we know that we won't be able to deliver the service as effectively if we give a discount for something. Number 6, reduce your variable costs. So these are the costs which increase as sales increase. So direct labor, cost of materials, sales commission. In my business, for example, my variable costs are things like salaries for the accountants and the bookkeepers. It's certain software that I use to deliver the products, the services. So Xero, for example. Implementing better systems to accurately record time and materials used, as well as implementing strategies to reduce rework and wastage, will help reduce your variable costs. It's really important to have a look at those things and measure them. So things like if you are running a team and you have staff that are specific to delivering your service. So in my example, I've got the accountant and the bookkeeper in my team. They are directly linked to providing the sale. In my business, we look at the percentage of wages to the sales. So we would look at that. In a product-based business, it might be looking at the cost of your materials and delivering your product compared to the sales. That's when you look at your gross profit percentage. Have a look at those things and monitor them, make sure that they are accurate, and see if you can reduce those at all. Can you make your staff and your team more efficient? Can you reduce the amount that you have to waste or throw away if you've got products that, potentially break? I remember one of my clients had a whole delivery of her products from China, and they arrived and they'd all cracked. And, it was the time that ended up having to get them replaced. So just have a look and see what you can do to reduce those costs or indeed make them more efficient and work better for you. And a final way to boost your business is to reduce your overheads. These are things like your fixed costs. So phone, electricity if you've got an office space, or rent indeed if you've got an office space, office supplies of stationery and things like that. Do you even need a printer? Do you need paper and ink anymore? Most people, well, we certainly don't print anything off in our business anymore. How often do you review your overheads? It should normally be done annually. However, if you haven't already reviewed them as part of your recovery plan, you really must do so now. Have a look and see if there are there subscriptions that you pay for that you're just not making use of? Are there things that just aren't relevant anymore? Have a look at your insurance policies. It might be that now you're not traveling to places that you don't need certain policies, or you can reduce them. If you've got a company car and you pay for the insurance through the business, are you doing as many miles? Can you negotiate a lower insurance premium? It might also be that you can negotiate better terms for your rent if you're not using it so often. And again, reducing the amount of office supplies, as I mentioned before. And just while we're on the subject, let's talk about accounting fees. We're telling you to reduce your costs, but if you think that accountancy fees are a cost, then you should probably cut your accountant. Your accountant should be providing you with value, and they should be really, at the moment, supporting you now more than ever. So as cheesy as this sounds, think of it as an investment rather than a cost with your accountancy fees. Your accountant should be supporting you and helping your business through this time. If you see it as a cost that's dragging your business down, it's probably that your accountant is not providing you the service that you need right now. Our goal at Seed is to save you more in tax, or to help you grow your business, way more than any extra money you may pay in accounting fees. We would never want to see that someone was just paying our fees every month and not getting value from that. And that's the same with any accountant, really. Well, that's my personal feeling of the accountancy industry. So do bear that in mind. And accountants aren't the only ones in that. There are other service providers that you should see as an investment, but you need to make sure that you're getting a return on that investment. So now we've gone through all of that, I'm just going to quickly go through the growth equation, which is a calculator we use to show how small changes can have a big impact on profit. By monitoring your KPIs, you can set goals for improvement. This calculator shows you the 7 ways to boost your business in action. And for efficiency during this webinar, we've just used screenshots. Previously, when I've done this, I've had a spreadsheet where I typed the things in and you could kind of see how it changed. But this is just a quicker way of doing it. If you want, we can sit down with you and run your numbers to see the impact small changes will make for your business, and determine goals for improving your KPIs to achieve the new profit. So let's have a quick look at the current KPIs and profit for this example company, and then I'll show you the impact small changes make on the profit and the value of the business. By the way, all of the numbers have been rounded in case anyone is trying to do calculations in your head. So this company had 765 customers with a retention rate of 85%, which gave them an average of 650 retained customers. They receive 145 inquiries with a conversion rate of 50%, which gives them a total of 723 customers. Okay, so that's the retained customers plus your acquired customers. Each customer makes, on average, 1.1 transactions per year with an average transaction value of £780. This results in annual sales of £620,120. Their cost of goods sold is 70%, and overhead expenses are 132,500. This leaves them with a net profit of £53,536. And to demonstrate the increase in the value of the business, we've used a very basic valuation multiplier of 3 times the profit in this calculator. This isn't actually how we would value the business, but it provides a very rough guide. And also every business is very different in how it can be valued. But just for demonstration purposes, the current value of this example business is just over £160,600. Now, what changes could this business make to improve its profit and therefore its value? So we said the first way to boost your business is to increase your customer retention rate. So let's say this business implements a customer loyalty program and creates a customer Facebook group. This results in an increase in their retention rate from 85% to 90%. They now retain an additional 39 customers. They receive the same number of inquiries, but due to the impact of COVID, their conversion rate drops to 45%. This means they now only acquire 65 new customers during the year. Their total number of customers is now 754. The customer loyalty program means that customers now make an average of 1.3 transactions per year, however, and spend an extra £20 per transaction. Sales have now increased to almost 784,000. You can see that's quite a significant increase in the annual sales. If the business negotiates better terms with their suppliers or improve their inventory processes, cost of goods sold might reduce to 65%, possibly. These changes to the KPIs came about due to additional coaching from their accountant, don't you know? This means that expenses have increased though, so they're spending more with their accountant. There was also an increase in wage costs, so expenses increased to 150,000. So this gives a new net profit of £124,365, which is an increase of 70,829. Using the very basic valuation multiplier of 3 times the profit, this is increased by over 70,000 to 212,000. So as you can see, the business only had to make very small changes, but that more than doubled their net profit. So by focusing on delighting your customers, you retain more of them, and they're more likely to buy from you more often and spend more when they do buy from you. So remember, this is just an example, and your numbers will be totally different. But if you do want to meet up and, we can input your numbers into our growth equation calculator to work out the impact small changes could have on your business. So hopefully you can see the 7 ways to boost your business in action and all the tiny little things that can make a huge compound difference. So as Albert Einstein famously said, although actually I think somebody might have recently told me that he didn't actually say this, but anyway, we'll keep going for that. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So I think we all know this. So what do we have to do differently this year? There's no point just doing the same thing again. Pull yourself out of it. And you have these 4 choices. Do nothing. So you've listened to this webinar, you've attended it. You should probably do some things differently, but change seems a little bit too hard. You can retreat. You might try a couple of things, but you've had a couple of bad days in a business, and so you kind of give up. You could take normal amounts of action. So you do a few of the easier things here and there and get some quick cash flow improvement. But actually, fundamentally, you haven't changed that much in your business. So those quick wins will quite quickly evaporate along with the cash. 4, you can take massive amounts of action. Now, taking massive amounts of action doesn't necessarily mean spending loads of time, but you can take massive amounts of action and you want to fundamentally change how your business is, because it's here to serve you and not the other way around. And that's one of the things that I repeat on all of my social media posts again and again. Your business is here to serve you, not the other way around. You need to do what you need to do in your business to make it work for you better. So as the old saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. We know that it's not possible all the time, especially in the current environment. So if you do what you've always done, you'll get less than what you used to get at this current time. It's really important to take action and do those things. More important now, more than ever. So you've made a start by watching this webinar. That's 1 hour of your day. Well, so far 45 minutes. But I really advocate just spending, I actually normally take all of Monday to work on my business. See what time you can set aside to work on your business and change and implement those changes in your business. So now that I've gone through all of those, I've just listed a few of the ways that we can help you. This is not an exhaustive list, obviously. However, whilst the information in this educational webinar was general in nature and no substitute for specific tailored advice and support, there are several ways that we can help you more specifically in relation to what I've talked about. First of all, if you don't already have a business plan, we can work with you to develop yours over a half-day session. Now, we are currently doing these in one day, but split over 2 sessions. So it will be 2 2-hour sessions on Zoom, delivered online. The price for a business planning session is £1,250 plus VAT. Now, I appreciate that, especially at this moment in time, it could be quite prohibitive for many small businesses. And we do offer payment plans. We've got various different payment options. So please don't use price as a barrier for any of these. If you don't have a business plan, we can help. We can help you develop it. And we've had such great feedback on the business plans that we have delivered with our clients. And it's a really helpful way to just get all of the things in your head down onto paper and use it to hold yourself accountable and for us to check in with you. Now, once you've got that business plan, the quarterly coaching, we actually sell as a quarterly business performance review session. Now, what that is it's not just coaching. So every 3 months we will meet up. We have a Zoom meeting now, unfortunately, but we do deliver it online. And it will be a full report of an analysis of your business performance for the last quarter. We also look at how you're doing against your business plan goals and your actions. And then we also set the next 90-day plan. So that's what the quarterly coaching or the quarterly business performance review session does. And that very much depends on the size of your business. If there's we do offer other types of coaching. We do financial awareness coaching, cash flow forecasting coaching, various different things. So there's other things if you're interested in finding out more. We're also offering all our webinar attendees the opportunity to complete a 7 ways to boost your business action list. So this allows you to identify the actions you can take to boost your business. And then once we've done that, we'll then have a 15-minute call where we will review your completed action list and ensure you've identified all the actions relevant to your business and that you have a plan to implement these changes. So it's a really good way if you just want a few quick ideas of how to give your business a bit of a boost. And finally, we offer our existing clients a 1-hour complimentary meeting each year where we review your goals for the year ahead and discuss all the different things that you might need to help you get there. And if you're not yet a client, we currently offer a half-an-hour discovery session to establish if we're the right fit for each other. And if you're interested in that, you can click the button in the feedback survey. So we do have, at the end of this webinar, there is a feedback survey, which I would really appreciate you completing. We do ask for your email address, but that is only so that we can then send you the relevant information that you've requested. And really, it's just an idea of how we're doing on delivering these webinars and if there's any other topics that you'd like us to deliver on. So please do take 5 minutes. It shouldn't even take 5 minutes to complete that at the end of this. So finally, there is a final parting thought. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. So make a simple plan today, commit to at least 3 actions that you'll take as a result of today's webinar, write them down, give each of them an owner and a completion date. And it could well be just you who is the owner of those tasks, but make sure that those three points are there with a deadline to complete them. And if you need our support, we are here for you. Thank you, everybody who's taken the time to attend the webinar. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a lovely day and I wish you all the best for lockdown 2.0. I hope to see you all soon and take care. Bye, everybody.